Hello there and welcome to Brian Lomax Movie Talk and my review of Wonder Woman starring Gal Gadot as the title character. Yeah, very good reviews for this. That's kind of all I knew going into this other than what I saw in the first trailer. I kind of avoided the other trailers because I really just didn't want this film ruining. I wanted to go in as fresh as possible. I kind of got mixed feelings about this and I'm not quite sure why, but those mixed feelings aren't so much negatives as just more about certain things that are in the film that aren't necessarily bad. I'm just not sure if they're DC. That's primarily the humour. Now, this film does kind of feel, and I hate to get into the whole Marvel v DC thing because I like both, quite frankly. I love what Marvel do and I love what DC do. Yes, Batman v Superman included. I loved that film, absolutely loved it. I didn't get the hatred for that film at all, and with the Ultimate Cut, it got vastly improved. So yeah, where does this film fit in with that? Well, like I say, there's a lot more humour in here. This feels like a very good, and I mean very good, Marvel film, but with much better colour grading. You know, Marvel films have good cinematography, they don't have good colour grading. They get cocked up in the editing, whereas this, the blacks are black. You know, it's got beautiful cinematography, which is backed up in the editing process with people who know what they're doing. I love the title character. I love all the supporting characters in this, with the possible exception of one, which, like I say, we'll get to. But yeah, Gal Gadot. As if we really needed the proof here. We kind of got it with BVS, but I think maybe we might have been a little bit on the fence, wondering, was it a fluke? Was it because she only had a small role in that? There wasn't that much required, so she just got to give her personality. You know, a lot of people said she was great in BVS. But thankfully, it turns out, carrying an entire film, she is just as good. Yeah, there's loads of moments in this film where she really wins me over with just her charm. You know, obviously she's a very pretty woman. You know, it's not going to take much to win me over in that regard, but she's more than just, you know, a good-looking model stuck in a interesting costume. She has charm. She has a natural charisma about her that really wins me over in the times that it is needed. And that being said as well, she can also do some of the dramatic stuff. You know, this film sees Wonder Woman coming from Themyscira into a world she doesn't know, the world of men, and the shock that kind of has on her, the impact that has on her when she sees the hatred in the world, the violence, what men are doing to each other. She carries that. Gal Gadot carries that in her performance. So, you know, even though we don't really get to see that much that is particularly violent or dark from her perspective, you know, we see a lot of the aftermath, but we've seen worse than that in other films. And that's not to say that the film doesn't have its dark moments. It does, but the darkest moments in this film are not ones that Wonder Woman gets to see. So I'm thinking of the character of Miss Poison, Dr. Poison, I should say. There's one moment in this film when she is doing experiments on someone with this gas mask, with this gas, and yeah, that does get pretty dark. You know, you kind of don't really get to see much, but even so, just the emotional response that elicited from me was, yeah, it was uncomfortable. It was an uncomfortable moment. But like I say, the stuff that we see through Wonder Woman's eyes doesn't get quite that bad from a graphic point of view. Yet, because of Gadot's performance, she carries it. She sells me on her feelings towards mankind after the things that she witnesses. Now, I like the villains in this film, but I think they could have done with a lot more development, if I'm being perfectly honest. Now, I reviewed the animated version of Wonder Woman from 2009 just the other day, and I thought the villain in that Ares was much more well-rounded. I thought we got quite a bit more backstory there, a bit more of his motivations, whereas here, not quite as much. Now, like I say, the performance of the actors gets me kind of interested in them, shall we say, but I would have liked more of their backstory. I feel like by the time we get to the final showdown, I'm not quite as invested in the villain as I should be. I do like the way that they kind of play Ares as this devil-like character. You know, he's almost like the devil who was cast out of heaven when he tried to deceive man and make man fall. And he kind of plays that role in this film. You know, we see at one point during the film that he is that one who is whispering in people's ears, the nasty thoughts. But I like how the film makes the point that at the end of the day, yeah, he's whispering, but it's us who have to choose. That evil is within us, and we have a choice to make. And that's ultimately what the film is about. And Wonder Woman has to choose. Does she leave us? Does she abandon us to our evil ways? Or does she bring love into the equation and try and lead the way through the use of love? Patty Jenkins does a fantastic job with the action here. She's only really done one other film before this. She's done a few made-for-TV movies, but only one kind of cinema release, which was Monster, which was a cracking drama, it was, with brilliant performances. So I can see why they picked her for that side of things, to get the best out of the actors. But she was kind of unproven as an action director. Well, here, I think she shows that she is more than capable. There's plenty of action scenes in here, and I was really enthralled throughout them. One scene in particular, which you'll have seen in the trailers, is when Wonder Woman first steps onto the battlefield, the World War II battlefield. You know, she steps into no man's land. And I've got to say, that particular moment is a really triumphant moment. When she marches on there and then she's taking this gunfire, there is something, one, very heroic about it. But yeah, it's like she's leading the charge, and you're getting behind this woman and you really feel like she is someone to follow. She's someone you would follow into gunfire. I love the way Themyscira is portrayed in this film. It really does look like a paradise, a place I'd absolutely want to live, and not just because of the women that are on there, but just, yeah, an actual paradise with really clear blue seas and just beautiful vistas. It's, yeah, I want to go there, I want to be there, and it's a shame that they don't spend a little bit more time there, to be honest, in the film. Chris Pine is also very good as Steve Trevor. This is a character that kind of needs to be something of a lovable rogue, which is something obviously that Pine has proven he can do with Captain Kirk in Star Trek. So he's essentially not really stretching himself here. He's playing what he knows, but it's a character I like to see him play. One character I wasn't particularly sold on is that of Etta, played by Lucy Davis. Now, I've got nothing against Lucy Davis. I think she's perfectly fine at what she does. But I just feel like she's there for really light comic relief. And this was the part I was mentioning earlier. This feels like it is tailor-made for a Marvel film, not necessarily a DC film. Like, I can't imagine this character fitting somewhere into Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. I just can't imagine it working. It does work here. Like I say, that's not the issue. Everything about this film works. The question is, do I want it from DC? You know, I kind of want DC to be dark, to be serious, and I want Marvel to be light and jokey. So like I say, it doesn't make the film bad. It's just what you want from DC. So yeah, I think that this film overall fits in quite well with the world that Zack Snyder has already established. I think the final battle scene with Ares definitely looks like almost like it was shot by Snyder, to be honest. It's got a very similar kind of aesthetic to it. And it does get a little bit CGI heavy as well towards the end. Now, again, I'm not criticising that. I just think that some people who didn't like that aspect of Batman v Superman towards the end, with the big battle scene, there's a lot of CGI in that. I think it's quite the same here, to be honest. Overall, this is a really great film. I love the characters, I love the direction by Patty Jenkins, I love the visuals, the choreography and the action scenes, just the way those action scenes are shot. And I really like this character played by Gal Gadot. I think everyone's done a fantastic job. And yeah, question is, where does it stack up with the other films? Now, like I say, I do love Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. I don't care what other people say. But I think this is marginally better than Batman v Superman, the theatrical cut, but I still prefer the ultimate cut over this. But like I say, that's not to diminish what this film brings at all. It just shows you how much I love that film. Man of Steel, though, still the favourite in the DC universe for me. But this film I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5, and I strongly urge you to go and check it out. If you have already seen this film, then please do comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And until next time, crack in.